Hi everyone, welcome to Hobby Hangout. It's been a long month. We have no John with us this week because John's away. He's relaxing back home from his Facebook feed. I see that he's like petting cats and driving small tanks.
Putting cats on top of RC tanks as well, maybe. I don't know.
Pretty standard for John, I guess.
Yeah.
But we have Ben with us, and we have
Hello.
Coco and Ryan in the background there. So if anything goes wrong with me, they'll take over. Looks like Ryan's going to take over for me, so I can go. Ben, how are you this week? I see you've been building up the dragon that I gave you from the bones. How did it go?
I glued the wings on this morning, so hopefully you should be able to see that.
Wow, it's actually a lot
It is
larger,
bloody
taller
massive.
than I thought.
Yeah. But the interesting thing about it is that, the foot is slightly higher on this side than it is on this side, so I need to kind of build a base for it.
Oh, that's a bit annoying.
Yeah, so I'm going to get stuck into that and see what it's all like. I'm probably going to paint this with the new contrast paint as well, I think, because it's like the Larry Elmore one from the front of the red box.
Are you sure you're going to have enough paint for it?
Probably not. But yeah, so I'm got to paint that, and I also got some cool Birds and Badger stuff because of course I did it at UK Games Expo, and also I'm going to be painting up some things from Gloomhaven. But spoilers, I can't show you because they're heroes that you have to unlock. So I'm not going to.
Ah, I see.
Because I'm playing Gloomhaven on Sunday, which is going to be awesome. So.
Awesome. Now that we're back, my friend Michael, he's off to download. So I told him that he's not allowed to tell me how good Tool are. Because that's the only reason why I would go, and I don't fancy spending a weekend in a field covered in dirt just for Tool. Maybe I'll see them later on in another 20 years. But with him being away, I can't play. I have no one to play Walking Dead with. Maybe I'll wrangle someone in the office. I think Sam wants to play it.
Oh, good.
Because we have 15mm tables, so we could just half the distance they run. So that might work. Or we could just, as Sam suggested yesterday, that we play it in a what's the Simon Pegg film where they run through a model house? Hot Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz, yeah.
You could play Hot Fuzz style in it. But anyway, back to Hobby Hangout. Back to what we're here for. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got quite a lot of people here in the chat, so thank you very much for joining in. Stick around, you might see your project. And if you want to see your project, feel free to link it in the comments or in the Hobby Hangout thread as well. But first, we're going to have a look at Amanda's Samurai Warband. This is a game for Saga, Age of Magic, or Warlords of Erewhon. But these are from the Warlord games from Test of Honor, I think, are they? So
They're from that Test of Honor range that they did.
Mm-hmm.
That has now moved over to Grey for Now games. Well, these models haven't, but the rules have. But looks very, very cool. I'm getting more and more tempted by samurai games. Every time I see something new from Test of Honor, I'm like, I wonder how much. I wonder how much it would take to build a little warband for it.
I do like them because they look quite simple to paint. Amanda's doing like my kind of method where you paint like the deepest recesses first and then the armor afterwards. Just doing layer. I quite like it. Nice color schemes here, going with the green banners as well.
That's the thing I think that's really good about these kind of forces, that you work on sort of those traditional things like armor, but then because it's Japanese forces, they tend to have really bright poppy colors on them as well. So you get to play around with all sorts of different things.
It's the kind of thing that the armor is like either leather or bamboo, rather than metal. So very interesting to see how that goes.
There's some really cool looking new models coming out of I think Footsore are doing them. Mm-hmm. They are, but they look fantastic. So.
And they look very interesting in front of that Fallout Wasteland piece. I mean, that could work. I mean, why not have a samurai warband in the Fallout universe? That'd be kind of cool, actually. Because then you wouldn't have to rely on phase blasters or anything like that. You just like fire bows and arrows with samurai swords. That'd be really cool, actually. I'd like to see that. Anyway, Next up, we have bolt action Germans from one of Peace MK. 500 point German army and beyond. So we have some snipers and Panzerfaust here. Yeah, so if only John was here this week, we could talk all about paint schemes and stuff. But yeah, these look pretty nice. Little rockets here. Are these? So I've seen a lot of these at the Flames of War boot camp, but I never asked what they were. I just assumed they were.
I'm sure someone will tell us in the comments, but
Yeah.
the thing that I always look at, I'm always glad to see when I'm looking at sort of these World War II armies and stuff, is when people go to all the effort of doing the proper camouflage and everything like that. I think people that can paint camouflage and not make it look really dumb are great.
Yeah.
Because the amount of times I've tried to paint camouflage on any kind of tank and it just looks like it looks like I've painted it on rather than it being like a natural style that they've chosen for the tank or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the masking's a pretty cool idea with like putty and stuff. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So we have a look here. It's just standard putty. Probably use maybe blue tack as well for it. You spray over it and you get quite nice results. Actually, it's I don't think I've seen John do this kind of method, but this is kind of, I mean, this would work quite well. Because
John tends to just airbrush it on, doesn't he? And then
yeah, he doesn't seem to use putty. But what I kind of like about this is, you know, the putty isn't rolled to one size. It's just kind of meshed down and pushed in, which is pretty good for the camouflage because then it's inconsistent. And it turned out really well.
It did, yeah.
Some like little tiny spray marks and stuff, but I would guess, you know, that I wouldn't worry about that. Oh, my browser's not working. So why did that stop working? There we go. Well, it wouldn't be a hobby hangout without something breaking on.
Without technical glitches.
Yeah. But yeah, I like this camouflage. It goes all the way up to the barrel as well. Very, very nice. I can't say any more about it because John's not here to tell me otherwise. But yeah,
those rocket things are called Nebelwerfer. So there you go. I now remember them from Company of Heroes. They were definitely a thing. So yeah.
A little bit of wash onto that. The wash makes such a difference, doesn't it?
It really does.
Takes it from a toy-looking tank to a real-looking tank. That's very nice, yeah.
A badass tank that's been on the battlefield for a while.
I think now maybe a little bit of like a dry brush of like original like steel or something like platinum.
Just to try and give it the idea that it's a bit rusted and stuff around the edges, or the paint's worn off.
Yeah, because it does look as if it's been like going through the war, as I say, and a little bit of like scuff. We can kind of work it up nicely. All right.
John's always done that kind of thing on his tutorials. So if anybody wants to find out more about that, he tends to do it on pretty much every tank he looks at. So
yeah. Okay, so bolt action modular boards next.
That's cool. That is. Share it in the chat.
So I quite like this one. Anything modular seems to be quite good for, especially if you've got a small table space. I love the tablecloth. But yeah, anything with a small modular space. I mean, you've got 9 variants for this, so you could have essentially 81 variants of this. Looks really nice. I like it.
I always think this is a cool idea because it means that you can make a whole bunch of terrain, but then you're not tied to the same layout or sort of not necessarily tied to it, but like falling into the same pattern of producing the same thing all the time. And you can almost make it part of the game itself to like you and your opponent put down different tiles as you're going along just to build up the game board. Obviously, you try and stick within reality. So the river doesn't just end up going off into nowhere, or the road doesn't end up going to nowhere, etc. But it just means that you can sort of add a little bit more of like gamification to the process, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Just to answer McGrithian Apprentice's comment here, who won the spring clean? It hasn't been announced just yet. I think it's this weekend. Probably going to be looking at it. Because the whole month of May was UK Games Expo and then the Flames of War boot camp, and I think this week's pretty jam-packed as well, but we're going to be looking at it very, very soon, and we'll get winners picked for that as well. But there's no reason why you can't keep going with the spring cleaning. Why not make it a summer clean project now as well? But yes, we are on top of it. We are aware of it, and if there's any prizes that you think you've maybe missed, feel free to go onto the website on tabletop.com, click that more button and claim a prize. Down there you see a whole list of all the prizes and things that we've put out recently and in the past. But yeah, getting back to the modular board thing, it's huge sitting here looking at this. And what I kind of like about this is you don't have to be limited by the table space, because I think modular board, the way these photos are put in, it seems that they're always built on a square. You don't have to build on a square. You can make it a big straight line. I think would be kind of cool. Having like a big assault on a really long strip, I think would be really cool to see. And I like that. Yeah, it's really cool. Adds a lot more variety to your games, and it looks as if it's it's made for bolt action, but it could be used for Saga, actually, just looking at it here.
Yeah, well, they've used it for tanks as well, which is obviously of a smaller scale. So.
You could even use this for like Burrows and Badgers too.
First thing, you make a board that's your typical sort of green battlefield, and you can use it for pretty much anything at that point. Especially if you make it so that all of the things that signify the era or the genre are sort of placed on. So you basically just work on all the background for everything, and then add on things like fences and houses and that kind of thing as well. You can tailor it to whatever kind of game you're going to play. So.
Saga. Hope you're drinking.
Tea.
Drink responsibly. All right. Next up, we have building a Pendhel. I hope I pronounced this correctly. This is a fictional landscape that was made. Ben, you took a sip of your tea, and it's making me jealous. So here we go. Cheers.
Oh, you said cheers. I need to cheers you. There you go. Otherwise, it's very rude.
It is, yes. So this is from Thursday. The username Thursday, not past Thursday. But let's go down to the very end here, because this is kind of a cool little project here. Always played Warhammer for over 2 decades. Haven't built any scenery. I've always played in clubs and tournaments because I've never needed to have any scenery. Time and commitments have changed, so decided to build some scenery. The only requirements: it needs to be cheap, transportable, and easy to store. And they have this Pendle as a fictional location, planning and setting the campaign, based on folklore and feel of the area he lives in, South Pennines. Pennines. So kind of like a farmhouse woodland grove, and with like swamps and where mythical beasts would roam freely. And I like how he's made this little wall here. My only suggestion after watching Time Team at UK Games Expo with Tom is that a lot of the walls, let me see if I can properly make this. So imagine this is the base of the wall. Depending on the area that you want to build on, some people build the walls like stacking like this, but if you want a good based wall, a good solid wall, you turn the bricks like this and you stack them up that way.
Time Team is a wealth of information.
Yeah. I can't remember what they were looking at, and they didn't find anything really. But
I think that's pretty much typical of every Time Team.
Yeah. Time Team, they just find a random wall, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to dig it up a bit and see what we find."
And then Tony Robinson gets really excited about it.
Oh, we found a spoon, but it's dated back to the 1982. We found a fruit yogurt close by as well. We think it's from the Neolithic era.
But no, I'm really liking the look of what he's been doing. I like this kind of little set-on piece of terrain that can sort of help to build up things. So this is the kind of stuff that you'd build that you'd then add on to modular boards like we were looking at before, in order to build up something cool for Age of Sigmar and stuff. So, and because the Mortal Realms are so incredibly diverse, this kind of thing fits in, especially if he's talking about the Realm of Shadows and stuff. So you could have it as like that kind of spooky moors and stuff, as you were saying at the beginning. Very cool.
The plastic mat really throws me off though. I feel like
Yeah.
you made such effort on the little like gravestones and walls. I think it wouldn't be much to like make something that you could put it on top of, or even maybe just make get a cheap mat, because I think there's quite cheap like 3x3s.
You can get loads of
well
mats
there
very
as well.
cheap now, yeah.
Yeah, because the amount of work that you're putting in, I think it really detracts whenever you put down the plastic mat. Especially whenever you can see the like shine in the folds. But the little gravestones look fantastic, and I love the tree. The guys in the office would be proud. Hoping to see more as well. That'd be kind of cool to see some more from there. Next up, what do we have? Black Legion.
So some Chaos Space Marine.
And the next one's going to be quite a surprise. If only Warren was here to see it. Maybe we should put it into the weekender, but we'll move on. So Milma's Black Legion. Won the paint Black Legion Force for quite a while. A good friend Sam from Wargamer Online painted his Abaddon model. So this project will focus on building and the pacing of the Force to go with him. Working on each little night just to get it finished, and we're looking pretty good so far for little bits and pieces every night.
It's a lot of it's from the new set, so it's a lot of the new stuff that showed up in like Shadow Spear and things, which is pretty cool. But there's a few of the older models in there as well, which is pretty nice. I really like the like traditional Marines that Milma's worked on there, and that sort of like pinky palish skin. So it looks like they've been sort of like sitting in the middle of a dark, shadowy room for a long time.
So, what is this? I'm still stuck in this first beast.
Yeah.
Is that like? Is this organics? Like, is this all armor, or is this like a mutated?
You know the Centurions, the Space Marine Centurions, which like the Space Marines within Space Marines, right?
Let's say I do, Ben.
This is a mutated version of that, where like the flesh and metal is fused together to create like this monstrous obliterator style creature. So,
okay, and like, why do they become like what has happened for them to become this way?
And if they give themselves over to the Chaos Gods bestow them with gifts. So in this case, the gift is you get to be bigger and have more guns coming out of your guns.
Okay.
And also your face is now in a mouth.
Okay, I see. And is that something that they want, or is it, I'm going to guess it's not like a tonight I think I'm going to sacrifice something to the Blood God. I guess this is a long time approach.
Yeah.
To this decision.
Most Space Marines most Chaos Space Marines have been Chaos Space Marines for thousands and thousands of years. But obviously, because these ones are based on like the Centurions and stuff, they're sort of more recent converts to Chaos. So they're normally Space Marines that have been disillusioned, or they've had their minds played with by somebody, and they've sort of been twisted by something as well. So
okay.
But
cool.
as Sundancer says, it's a blessing.
Let me just do a little test here in Photoshop. Because I think that the photograph may be contorted a little bit in its lighting because of the white background behind it. Because if we see here, there's actually quite a lot of color going in here. Are you still with us, Ben?
I'm still with you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of color that's gone into this, and the base is actually really nice as well. It's just a shame because looking at the original, the colors kind of washed out because a lot of the light's coming from the white background behind. So that's just a little tip for photography there. If you have something on a white background, it's going to distract from the miniatures a little bit. So it's almost better. You need a light in front of it as well, because all the light's bouncing back at you. But yeah, that's really cool. Very nice. There's some nice highlights there as well.
As Chris from Darker Days says, the thing that turns them in particular is called the Obliterator virus, which is like a nanobots thing, chaos mutation virus thing. So,
I see.
Yeah, there are still some Space Marines out there that are renegades that aren't technically Chaos Space Marines as well. They just basically leave their chapter behind. So I don't really know much more about them, but they do definitely exist. So
I think I'd have a bit of trouble like painting these because I wouldn't know where flesh begins and metal combines.
you just try and blend the two together. I think it's best. Like do it as if it's like red, horrible raw flesh around like near the metal and stuff. So that like makes them seem like they're in constant pain. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I've noticed here that this photograph is taken if I go to full browser. These are like roof tiles. I would almost say that I think they would photograph better without them. Even if you want to go to test it, what I would do is I would put them in front of the minis, behind the camera, so that the light bounces off them, because that's kind of what's happening right now. But just small tips, really. The Abaddon looks fantastic as well. So this is one that is friend painted from. I think so. Anyway.
The one that was painted by his friend is the one that's in the banner at the top, because that's the one from War Games exclusive.
So this is his own concoction.
Then that's
here,
that's his own painting of the new official Abaddon. With the spoiler.
I mean that's pretty awesome. Like the skin tone on the face is marvelous. It really brings out that grotesque, as you said, Ben. Like sitting in a house or a dark room for days on end,
Grumbling about the Emperor.
Yeah.
Writing on the internet. That's the new Chaos Space Marine.
Meh, I don't agree with you.
Hashtag down with the Emperor.
Alright, okay. So we're going back into April. Let's have a look at our next one. Oh, so this is... what am I doing here? This is not what I want. There we go. So this is Kings of War, Empire of Dust. And this is by our friend...
Ojitat
as well, yeah. So we've seen this quite a bit. I think he was threatening to give up on it, to be honest, because I remember him talking about that he didn't have very much time for it. But I'm very glad that he didn't, because if we scroll down, oh, I even got a wee glass container and everything for him. Let's scroll down farther than I need to here. Okay, so this is back in January. I think we may have missed this project a wee bit. But
I think it's been one that's going on in the background that we've missed, yeah.
Yeah. But the skeletons, I mean, they're not the best sculpts I've seen for skeletons, I think, but in the theme of it, I think they're really cool looking. I love the idea of like the undead tombs and going in and discovering what's going on. I know King's War go on the trays a lot, but I don't know if I'm that fussed on these. But it's a nice theme. Very cool.
It looks good so that you can sort of personalize your army. I think that's the main thing for that.
Yeah.
So
we've got some scarabs and scorpions. Yeah, very cool. And
I must say, I commend the fact that he went in and he converted a lot of these, because these sort of old models and a lot of their metal bits seem like they're more of a pain in the arse than anything. But they do look very good now. So
I really like that he's added. I don't know if this is actual sand or this is like powdered. I think it's powdered pigment, but he's actually made it look like it's sand around the scarabs.
it's very cool. Yeah.
Need more explosions in this stream. What more do you want, Sundancer? We can't afford explosions.
It's not one of John's streams where he gets to do an exploding tank thing at the start of everything. We don't want to take over from his thing.
Yeah, I edited that. So, like, you know, if anything, John's been stealing from us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I really like the leader character he's got for the Force. That sort of like Tomb Guardian Necromancer style character he's got, sort of with the cloak flowing away from it. That it's very cool.
I'm moving up into the actual paint work here, so we can actually see the step-by-step process.
Yeah.
What's going on here? That's very nice.
Purple's a really good choice for them, I think.
Yeah, I think is this maybe the leader. Yeah, the purple works really well. It works in with the theme. It's very regal, and I think because he's got tints of blue in this, from what I remember, just a little bit of like highlights and stuff. Yeah, it's just like very. It's not blue, it's grey, but it works really nicely. And the sanding on the base as well actually works really, really well. I really like it.
By converting, sorry Jerry, I mean adding on the Empire of Dust bits, the metal bits to the plastic. It just always looks like a bit of a faff, but it clearly turns out very nicely, as you can see here. I just don't think I'd have the patience for it. So.
I wonder if they like are good marksmen, because they look as if the way they're all stacked in together and all shooting bows and arrows. Do you think they hit each other?
I go by the rule that when it comes to the undead, they're as good as they were in life. So if you're a good archer in life, then you're a good archer in death because you remember all your skills. But if you're a bad archer, hence like a peasant, you're probably crap. So, yeah.
How do you remember when you've got no brains?
Magic did it. A wizard did it.
Oh, there we go. You can always explain everything with magic. Magic did it.
One of the things that's really cool here that I think is a good thing that you get from Kings of War is that because the regiment just has to be a footprint, you can do things like adding in the scenic bits, like he's got the pillar there from one of the old tombs. I think it's really cool. It just means that you don't have to paint lots and lots of things if you don't want to. You can just create little tiny dioramas about everything, which I think is really cool. And it looks nice when you're displaying it at the end as well.
Put one skeleton in one huge footprint.
Yeah. Well, there was one person who designed a skeleton regiment, and it was one skeleton at the front coming out of the ground, and then everything behind it was like a hand or a foot coming out of the ground.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
So yeah. But,
how does that work for like wounds and stuff? Do you take minis off it, or do you just like track it another way?
As far I can't remember exactly how it works, but basically the unit gets to a point where it'll just break. So it's like the pressure on the unit, and then it goes. So you don't take any models off it or anything. It suffers like damage, and then the regiment sort of retreats. Okay. So
I see.
Next destroyed.
Next up, we have Robert's Terrain and Gaming Accessories. I quite like this one because he's building with pasta.
That's what we did as kids, so it should definitely work.
Yeah. Does pasta rot? I'd say if you spray enough varnish on it, it might be safe enough. It's hard to tell, but he's made these like cool looking pipes. I think they look really well actually. And then with the green stuff as well, just converting them. No, they don't rot. Interesting. Like it's food. It's still food, so I don't know. But yeah, I love that. Like this whole thread is completely filled with very unique and let's say, I'm trying to find a good word here, very unique and creative ways to make terrain, because it's like making wool terrain, knitting your own fields with wool. I mean that works amazingly. That looks like a ploughed field. I mean, like if I take off my glasses, that looks like a ploughed field to me, and it works so well. Really, really cool, and it's taken one hobby into another, which I can't praise more. I think it looks fantastic, and it's a good way of getting, as I said, two hobbies in one, and just teaching others, your tricks of the trade, and they teaching yours as well. There's so much to it. I love it. I think it looks so cool.
Those mushrooms would make Warren titter like a schoolgirl. So yeah.
We'll get to them very soon.
Yeah.
Even these little flower pots as well, that little small pieces of scenery, because these just look like lids. I think I haven't read through this too much. They're pieces of paper. They're just pieces of paper that he's rolled up and made into little plant pots. Amazing. I love it. And now we get to the mushrooms. So, I mean, what a significant use of just random things that you can work from. The dice bags, and the dice bags is a beautiful little touch, and they're very, very cool. Really like it. Like, I would weave a lot, but I don't knit. I know how to knit vaguely from whenever I was a kid, with my grandmother teaching me. But the mushrooms, this is why I think we should have probably left this until the weekender, if Warren's going to be available for it. But yeah, I think they work really cool. I don't know. I'm not so fussed on the fabric tops. I think they look kind of like oddly fluffy, but I mean, it works. You've experimented a lot in this project, and I think, yeah, why not?
I like the ones that we saw towards some of the later ones where we're seeing there's like standing one and the one with the curled cap as well. I think was really good. So very good for things like bros and badges and that kind of thing. So
yeah, I mean, you could use these little as little houses. I love that he's got a World War II mini in here. But yeah, fantastic. They do look like cat seats. Knitting is easy. I can't crochet though. I can crochet a little bit, but I can't join it together. I can crochet a big long strip, and that's about it. So I need someone to teach me how to join it and go back. Awesome work. I love that. That's just bringing two hobbies together and creating something that's very unique as well. I'm sure you may even get orders for some dice bags.
I was just thinking about the pasta thing. I was just realizing, looking back to those images, that it looks like alien tubes, doesn't it? So yeah, that's why it works really well. That's really cool.
I mean, and because pasta comes in all shapes and sizes as well, why not experiment? I'm sure you could make a little. The only issue with pasta is a little bit brittle, but yeah, I'm sure you could make quite a bit out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, next we're looking at Adeptus Titanicus from Uther Dracus. What a cool name, Uther Dracus.
That's the kind of name that's reserved on Xbox as a gamer tag.
Yeah.
And then everyone else has XXX after it. So.
Uther Dracus Sniper XX.
But yeah, some amazing painting on these. I know a lot of people who've been really, really enjoying Adeptus Titanicus and really getting stuck into it. A lot of people playing it at clubs and stuff, which has been really cool to see. I know my local shops had a lot of people playing it as well, which is very good. So.
It's not for me, Ben. There's too much to it. but yeah, I can appreciate the paintwork that gone into this. I've seen some amazing looking freehand stuff for these because there's so much flat areas to it. Mm-hmm. But even like the nice clean paint jobs on these as well is fantastic. Seeing them all as well, like painting them up before building them. I suppose is probably the more logical step to take when doing this, but
I think it works with this kind of thing because you want to try and get because the armor plates are so separate effectively from the rest of the model that you can paint them separate and then just slot them onto the skeleton, as it were, I suppose. So I think it's a good idea for this.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to try and do some freehand stuff as well, probably, because it means that you can just sort of take away a component and
That's
paint
true.
it separate from the.
I would say even if you put a bit of blue tack onto a piece of like say like an A4 board, like an actual piece of board, then you could lean your hand and your wrist on the board as well, so a little bit easier to paint. Because I know holding the minis, like your hand shakes and wobbles, but if you had an actual board that you pinned all these onto, it might actually be easier and make an actual canvas. I may be talking from out my behind though on that. Haven't tried it. Anyone wants to try it, feel free. Tell me how it goes.
Chris says that the sprue actually does come with, effectively one of them is just the endoskeleton and the rest of it is the armour on one. So you could actually paint it on the sprue if you wanted to, but then you get to that problem of having to snip bits off, and then you've got the raw plastic underneath things. So
it's designed to be painted pre-armour application. Interesting. I can see why. Yeah. There is a lot to it.
Next step, I think, here needs to be to weather these. I think get stuck in with a bit of Agrax or something. Start working it into the joints and making it look like it's been in the field for a while. So, well, depends. I really like how the yellows come across.
Yeah. Nice. I think it all depends on the end effect that he wants, because you can go with that nice, clean, pristine look. Which I see a lot of people to be doing, that it's almost like out of the factory. But then, whenever we were at Warhammer World, there's a new exhibit with a big Titan that it looked like it's just been in construction, because it's all chained up and it was inside, like there's bridges and stuff to it. But I would almost say that during the building process of these, they would rust anyway, because they would take so long to build. So certain areas I think would be already rusted, even if it's just pristine out of the factory.
Yeah, as Manda says, they come out the factory weathered.
Yeah, I think so. Just because of for what we saw at Warhammer World, the diorama looked phenomenal, and it was so cool looking. It looked like something out of the Matrix, like episode 3, when all the big machines are being like packed away, ready for war. That's what it looked like. It just chains everywhere. Lots of chains. Lots and lots of chains.
Uther says that he's going to try around experimenting with the contrast paints on these as well, so that'll be interesting to see how that works.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. What do we have? So next up we have Rebels and Raincoats by Denzin. We've seen a lot coming out of this project, and it's quite the impressive feat that he's been working on this for so long. It's probably one of the biggest projects there is, and there's not enough recommendations for this. So if you can, go in and give him some recommendations for his projects, because this guy's non-stop in this stuff, and it's not like it's fast work. He puts a lot of effort into these, a lot of this terrain, like even the footprints along the path. Fantastic work.
I love he's got a picture of, I'm not sure which end of the project you're at, but he's got a picture of him dressed up in 18th century clothing, reading the new book about the French Indian War, which is great. So
yeah, because I think he works as a historical actor. I'm not too sure, which is cool in itself. I love that even in his work he is contributing to his hobby. It's very, very cool. I like it. But yeah, so much work's gone into these little figures, because there's so many of them as well, and they're so cool. It's a very unique part of like history that I don't think is shown enough from us either. Because there's so much of it.
Well, I would say, like, the Black Powder era for me isn't, unless it's pirates, I'm not normally that excited by it. But I do, like, I don't think I'd ever play it, but I do, and Sharp, obviously, Sharp's cool. But I don't think I'd ever collect it, but I love seeing people's armies and the battles as well they put together, because it's just, everything they do is always immense.
Yeah.
It's always on a ridiculous scale.
It's a proper flood.
Yeah.
Of minis. I think I agree with you. Like, if I was going to do it, it'd be pirates, and I think that's only because like pirates fight dirty. I mean, they'll break off from their rank and file, Because I think the whole rank and file kind of, I don't know, I just find it kind of silly, like that no one had the free thought of like maybe this is a bad idea to stand still and shoot our guns.
Maybe we should duck. Yeah.
But yeah, as you say, whenever people go to play these things, they go big, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the pictures and results from the Glasgow
Oh yes,
thing
this
as
is going to be
well.
this weekend, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome to see how that turns out. This is fantastic as well. Just this really
I
cool.
was going to say something there, but I forgot what it was. Nonsense. Oh yeah, about the idea of like people being ranked up and everything. I can't remember what I was watching, but someone was talking about the fact that because the guns were so inaccurate, you needed to stand in big rank lines and fire your guns because that was the only way you actually hit. And I think Jerry's mentioned it in the comments as well. And similarly, you're probably unlikely to get hit either. So
it just seems so baffling though that there was a period of war where they just stood still and took shots. I mean, it could have been easier for just the two generals to flip a coin.
Yeah. Which is why I think if I was going to play in this period with these kind of forces, I'd play something like Sharp Practice, where you're playing with like smaller, like light infantry and that kind of thing, like doing skirmishing on the tabletop and stuff. So, yeah.
I like how everyone's defending the game now, upon my opinions. I just think it's a bit silly that it's not. It doesn't seem like a battle. It's more of a.
I think it's because whenever you see it portrayed on the screen, it's in some Hollywood movies anyway, it's two ranks walking towards each other. One side shoots, the front rank falls down, and the friends just walk over the top of them and keep going.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I'm sure the battles were a lot more nuanced than that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm just going off popular culture, clearly. Okay, next up, before we insult any more people here, we have Star Wars Worlds by the same person, Denzian. I think what he's been doing here is great, and I absolutely love that there's more pieces of terrain that's being built in the project system, because he's getting along really well with Star Wars Legion. He's even got his little nephew involved in it as well.
That's right.
Playing Stormtroopers. Hopefully they actually get some hits in as well. But this, I don't know where this is based off because I haven't read too much into it, but it almost looks like the Rogue One area.
I believe I've scrolled down. I think some of it's in Naboo, some of it's Yavin 4. It said.
Oh no, not Rogue One. Not. I'm thinking. Oh, it's episode 7 or 8. Oh god, I'm lost now. It's the very first of the very recent ones that's come out with because I remember the guy, the stormtrooper, like swinging the weird thing. I'm so useless. Thank you, Force Awakens, Lloyd. Goddamn, utterly useless at Star Wars today. Terrible. But yeah, this terrain kind of reminds me of it.
4,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it looks really great. I love this terrain. It's a Star Wars is the perfect excuse to go and raid aquariums because you need alien terrain, don't you? You need alien jungle plants, and what do fish tanks have?
And the good thing about it, it's not going to look out of place.
Yeah.
Like any other miniature, it would look out of place. But for some reason, Star Wars, it works perfectly.
Yeah.
And it seems odd as well, like such a sci-fi game that you could throw in aquarium plants and it just fits. It works really well. I love that. This is what I love. Absolutely adore that he's taken out the scout trooper into his own garden and taking photos with it. My only wonder is like, how do they get up there?
I think the basket goes up and down. I don't know. I'm not going to. I'm sure there is reasoning for it. I bet in one of Warren's Star Wars books he has something about it. But I always thought he was just some poor idiot who got.
I like to think that they have ships that drop, and they have so many of these scouts that if they miss, they can just try again. and then you're just stuck up there, and you're sent rations every now and then. They just hurl rations from the ground up.
Someone chucks a sandwich at you.
Yeah. But yeah, amazing looking little piece of terrain here. I'm sure Denzin has like it's probably a nice change from all the like Napoleon kind of stuff that he's been working on. So let us know as well in the comments if you're by that, you know, which if you have a preference. I think you probably prefer the pike shot stuff or the historical stuff, but it'd probably be a nice change up, I guess.
I think that's
some Star Wars.
I think that's cool about Star Wars. Like you can pretty much do anything with the kind of terrain that you're gonna make, and I think boards with Star Wars that are packed with terrain are the best way forward for it. I mean, obviously, I'm sure people who have vehicles or more would say otherwise, but I really like the idea of some like smaller skirmishes in Star Wars. I think it's really cool.
This photo is fantastic. This looks right out of one of the movies.
It does, yeah.
There's so much happening in it that I love it. It's perfect. And I'm going to say that it doesn't look like it's taken a lot of effort to build. I'm sure it did, but it looks that it could be made by anyone. There's little pieces of foam and some what are they called? Clay, sculpting clay.
The pillars are from Mines of Moria set, just to confirm for LSR. So.
But yeah,
which
it
is
looks
quite
like
fitting considering LSR is Aragorn.
But yeah, I think anyone could replicate something like this here, and Denzin really proves that it can be done, and really well too. Awesome work. I love it. Next we have Psycho Sam.
Curious as well.
By Curious. This is Rogue Trader work here. Are the images not loading, or is this just there we go. Okay, so this is his most recent work from Curious, or Ninja Bread as he's known on his social networks now. I think he's trying to build up an actual brand for himself now, so that's awesome.
He's a damn good painter, so
yeah, I don't see why not. But this Serious Sam, it's fantastic. I love the like. We can talk praise all about it. We've done it before. The amount of work that he's gone into it is fantastic. But I even love the weathering on the flag. And I can't imagine that painting those stars would be an easy task.
No. Especially with the wave in the fabric as well. You've got to try and get it so that it works properly there too. Ugh.
Yeah.
Dear me.
Fantastic work there. My only regret is that there's no more photos. There's just one photo.
But nice to see his ass for Lloyd's benefit. Obviously.
There you go. Thank you, Ben, for letting us know. So yeah, fantastic work there by Ninja Bread. If anyone wants to go follow him on his social networks, I think it is Ninja Bread. If not, just search for Curious. But he's working hard now. I think he's changing up his brand and trying to get some professional approaches to this as well, which we should be.
I love seeing Space Marines that have no chest. They're just all legs and shoulders. It's great. So.
Yeah. Next we have Shingen's Infinity Yujing squad here.
Oh, yes.
What a colourful bunch they are. Really nice. And as someone, I think anyone who's painting yellow, it's usually quite a struggle, but I think he's got the shading just perfect on these, and just the turquoise as well blends perfectly in it. It's like an opposite color almost.
It does, yeah.
And yeah,
and that light turquoise blue across them is very good. I like that.
I even love like the shading of the guns. Like they're not. I think a lot of the focus point goes towards the armor, but even like the guns, nicely highlighted. Shaded, everything about them beautiful. Cool looking bases as well. Looks like they're in some kind of like cool
facility or something.
Yeah, facility. High tech hallway.
They're made up using a section to think. There's like an entire section on the bases, which is very cool. So I think they're MDF with other bits of MDF on top of them as well, which is good.
That shading of the turquoise is beautiful in the
It is really
the
nice.
guy's cloak.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful models.
Really, really nice. That's awesome work. Same with the gun. Yeah, really like that. Very cool. Ah, it makes me want to paint some Infinity now, even though I have no interest in it.
Just like grab one model
Just-
from the Aristea set or something.
I just want to paint some cool, like, multicolored sci-fi minis. Look, so cool they look. I even love, like, I think we saw this in the past as well, like the pink hair. Very, very cool. He does very, very good shading on this yellow armor.
It's
What
almost
time
like
do we
that
have?
sunburnt yellow that you get on like Eldar. It's pretty cool on the Ianden.
Yeah. So we've got
Right.
10 minutes here. We're going to have a look at some of the previous community spotlights. We've got 2 previous that we missed out on from the past couple of weeks.
Can I just highlight one more project?
Sure.
It's the bottom one on the community links doc we've got. Lance.
Okay. My First Army, yeah.
Yeah, that's one. Because I think this is from a someone who uses the OnTableTop store, which is really cool.
Oh,
and this is
awesome.
someone painting up Warthwalk, who's painting up their first army. And I thought it was really fun to see someone who had tried out the test miniature that they had in store, which is the Space Marine, then tried out their own scheme on a Space Marine, but then gravitated it over towards the Tyranids that they're collecting, which I thought was really good. So yeah, really nice to see someone actually painting up an army for the first time, and I think that orange has come across really well.
Color test for the Tyranids, and a store sample to use while following OnTableTop's painting guide. You did a really good job on that. It's really nice shading on that one. And then we see the Tyranids as well. It's interesting to see like some of the people who have come in buying like different factions, because Tyranids is something that I would not be interested in, but it's nice to see that other people do, and like the paint schemes seem to be working really well. What I'd say, maybe a little bit of like the shading in around like the neck and stuff, I think. But yeah, awesome work. A nice little story that they come into the store and they're working along with the project system. Awesome work.
But yeah, just as you were saying there, and like maybe a wash on the orange just to sort of darken it down in the recesses. But otherwise, I think the black armor plates look really good, and I actually think the yellows turned out quite nicely on the sort of the carapace there too. I think it looks quite good. So.
Yeah, I really like the yellow as well, because they've said near full detail what third paint. Not sure about the yellow. Going to do a test with teal. I think the yellow works really well, because it almost gleams up like that perfect bit of highlight that's the sun is hitting it, almost, because I would imagine like the carpets would be quite dark. But I'd love to see these on the tabletop, because I think they'd be really cool looking, like because they're so vibrant. Seeing like a whole ton of these.
The other thing is. The other thing, obviously, as well, is that yellow is like a signifier of warning, isn't it, in the natural world? So it kind of works for the sort of animalistic Tyranids. So very cool.
All right.
A perfect army to paint using the new contrast paints.
Yeah, it'd be actually kind of cool. Or that organic stuff. It seems like contrast works really well with the organic stuff. All right. So, last couple of weeks on the June 5th. So was that last week or 2 weeks ago? That was
June 5th was last week.
Yeah. So we're a little bit preoccupied with the Flames of War stuff, but here we have Gloomhaven Heroes by Yorick. So you can maybe tell us about these. Are these spoiler characters, Ben, or are these really? If the image would load.
The ones that we're looking at by Yorick are the ones that you get when you open the box. So there's no spoilers there, thankfully. But yeah, I just thought they looked fantastic, and they immediately, when I saw them, put my Gloomhaven characters to shame, because I was like, "Oh, cool! I've painted mine really good." Oh, Yorick, damn it! Because there's like object source lighting on them, and he's picked a lot of details as well. Because I mean, these characters are good, but the sculpts of them are, they've not gone out of their way to make like the best sculpts ever. So picking out the detail that he has here for like the Mind Thief, which is the sort of rat character, and the Cragheart further down as well, just looks amazing. So some
Yeah.
fantastic versions. And the basing's been done so that it matches pretty much all the different tiles that you get in the game, which I think is really good. So it means that whatever you play it on, they're going to kind of match up, which I think is really, really cool. So yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
So, yeah.
And then here we have some of the actual details here. Yeah, very interesting looking characters. And next up we have the Fantasy Undead by Ghostbear. Oh, these look very cool looking.
Yeah, so this is a mix of semantic stuff. I believe there's some original Wargames Factory with those skeletons where the feet are separate, which is a dumb idea. And also likes the trolls as well, so it was really cool. But he's building up a fantasy army for use in Warlords of Erewhon and Age of Magic. And I just think they look great. Perfect excuse to bring together a whole bunch of different styles of creatures from different ranges and tie them together into the one army, which I think is really cool. So
every time I see an army of skeletons like this, I think back to that movie that Lloyd showed
Jason
us.
and the Argonauts.
Yeah. But yeah,
Lloyd in the Argonauts.
this looks really cool. I love the very, very subtle rusting on the shields. I think it looks really
it's
well.
really nice. Yeah.
The fact that it all they're all kind of the same color scheme, not too brash, works perfectly. Really, really nice. They look really creepy looking. They're charging towards me. And next up we have the Scooby Gang, which whenever I was looking at this last week, I was just thinking to myself, like, because Scooby Doo is a Great Dane, and they go around solving mysteries. How unwieldy would Scoob be in a crime scene? Because he's so huge.
Stepping on everything.
He'd be stepping on it. He'd be bounding in. He'd be getting in people's way. He'd be drooling everywhere. I mean, really, he just seems like collateral damage, I think. But yeah.
But the painting's fantastic on these. It really captured the spirit of all the different characters with those colour schemes. That white on Fred's jumper looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
I like the expression that's been pulled out for Shaggy as well. I think it's really nice as well. But they're those awesome hassle-free miniatures, I believe these ones are. So really nice. Interesting that they're walking around in the snow, but very cool.
Yeah. There's
It frames the models very nicely and makes the colours pop. So.
mysteries to solve everywhere, Ben.
The Arctic mysteries.
Yeah. Next we have, let me paste this in. This is Judgment Beasts, Mortal Realms and Tanks.
Oh, yes.
This is from last week. Irish Steve. Oh, this is the big thing from Judgment. Thorgar.
Yeah, so those are. I think this was just two from his project that had been finished, which are two of the larger, because you get the larger models in Judgment, and obviously Genuine / Irish Steve is a fantastic painter, and I think it's really come across amazingly, especially when you look up close at Haxa with all that tattoo work as well, and the way that the face has been picked out just looks absolutely phenomenal.
He's been working quite a bit on these on stream, and it's really shown in this. I really love his leather work, and there's non-metallic metal stuff as well. Even just the horn as well. Looking at the color of the horn and all the metal in its bases as well. He puts a lot of effort into these minis as well. And if you want to follow him, he's on Twitch as well as Genuine Vision. Amazing looking work, well deserving. Next we have Age of Sigmar Warbands by Curus. As I've mentioned before many times, I absolutely love his photography work and his lighting.
Oh yes. I had to pick out because he plays around with a lot of new stuff and old stuff. So he's got those new Aurochs there, which are from, pardon me, are from Warhammer Underworld, which is very cool. Just again, amazing yellows there. The way the metal has been done is absolutely fantastic. It looks like it's actually been properly bashed together by the orcs, which is really cool. And the flame pattern on them as well is pretty awesome. And then you've got the slightly older models from the 1990s with the Zangors there, which I didn't know existed until I didn't know they existed as a thing. I thought back then I thought they only came out in Silver Tower, but clearly I didn't know about these really awesome old hammer pieces. And yeah, they look very, very cool. So if you're making little warband stuff, he's got some cool stuff there to pull out and use. Again, using modern techniques on older models and making them really look fantastic. So yeah, very good.
Awesome work. And then lastly, we have the Leopard tank by 42. The amount of detail in this one is fantastic.
Yeah.
Even just the chipping. Where's Tank? Where's John when we need him? He'd be all over this.
But yeah, the weathering around the outside of the tracks is really nice. I really like the detail work, the amount of camo work that they've gone into it as well. As I said at the beginning when we were looking at the World War II tanks, anyone who can make camo look good deserves a pat on the back. So very awesome. Nice use of transfers, and then he's got the wiring as well for the antennas and things. So he's gone the extra mile on this one and added little bits of stowage on it and everything as well, which is cool. So I believe I think in the project there's actually some versions of it which actually have camo netting on it as well, which is really cool. So yeah.
Nice,
amazing tank.
And now, lastly, if I switch to myself, because I gotta log into the website so we can actually see what we're working with. Yeah. Is that my password? It is. It is. We're good.
You finally got someone to reset
my tea. Yeah. I got Tom to reset it for me. Okay, let me see. Community spotlight from this week. Copy, paste. Here we go. And for this week, we have Chilled Enough. I think it's Chilled Enough. What a cool name. The Napoleonic Prussians.
So this is a project that we had picked out to highlight as well this week anyway, but I just thought the painting on it was fantastic. And again, it goes into that thing of being able to look at someone painting up an army that personally I'd never have the patience to work through, and then so being impressed by anybody who gets anywhere close to doing something like this. And so it's really nice to see them working on all the different aspects of it. So you've got like the command element in there of the 15th Line Infantry 1st Battalion. I didn't do that from memory. I was reading the page. And then you've got the volunteer Jaegers as well, which are more of your skirmishers. And then I thought it was really cool seeing them all lined up on the bridge as well, which I thought was good. Because it's always, again, that's the kind of thing that I really like seeing, the armies on parade, as it were. So.
What scale are these?
28 mil. So it's all. I think it's a mix of Warlord and Perry miniatures models.
Okay.
That he's using for sharp practice, which is cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail in these. I don't know if this is a new thing, but it seems to be quite new. It's these new bases that they're a little bit like wobbly.
Mm-hmm.
They can like stack in, and I think they're quite a nice change. This one almost looks like it's been 3D printed actually. But yeah, as you said, a lot of detail in this. I don't think I would have the patience either. Even just looking at the drum, just on the side of that drum, you can see a lot of details going into that. I wouldn't have the patience either. And this little army on parade over the bridge. What a beautiful little spectacle to see.
It's very cool.
Next we have Dark Danigan with a very, very new model, which was only available at UK Games Expo this year. It is the Dragonborn himself. For some reason I couldn't get
The
Dragonborn.
Dovahkiin.
Yeah, Dovahkiin. That's what I was thinking of. The Dragonborn himself from Skyrim.
Yeah, I think this is great. Like the speed at which that has come together is really nice. As I said in the community spotlight when I was writing about it, it looks just like the iconic image of the Dragonborn that you saw on the in all the promo stuff that Bethesda put out there. So looks really fantastic. Really nice work on the fur. The leather looks really good and creaking and sort of well worn. The weapons look good as well. Nice bit of sort of shading and highlighting to them as well. And the bone work looks nice too. And then that base has come together really nicely as well, showing the sort of dead dragon tail and stuff.
I find it quite interesting that this is the iconic image of the Dragonborn. Mm-hmm. But any time I've played Skyrim, I have never worn that armor.
I wear it for the first half an hour because I find it in the ruins,
Yeah.
in Bleakfall Barrows, and then I take it off and immediately switch it for something else. So.
Yeah. I always go for like the light elven stuff.
Yeah.
And lastly, we have the Hellboy Heroes by Josh to go.
So yeah, this is a bunch of the heroes. This has been sort of in the works for a while, but I was waiting until he got to the point where he showed off Hellboy himself, because I really wanted to obviously put that in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to see that he'd finished off all the characters and stuff for this game now. His project goes into a little bit more detail about it, which is really cool. But I absolutely love the way that Big Red has come out there in both his different styles. The really nice bright poppy reds that have been used for the skin work really nicely and had that comic book feel to it. And the same goes for Johan and Liz as well. Really nice touches to them that they've come out really nicely. And yeah, the little touches really make it too. So you could like Hellboy's like bright yellow eyes under there, like glaring at you.
Yeah.
And Liz with the fire boiling in her eyes as well. It's very cool. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a couple more images and stuff over on the project, which is really good. I can't remember who it is. There's one painter online whose name I've now forgotten. Is it Tommy Saul?
Is it Lance?
He's not great. He's not that great.
Rude. While Ben looks for that, if you want to go across and look at the previous community spotlights, all you have to do is click that link down at the bottom whenever it releases, and you can see a whole pile of links. And you can click all of these to go into them and see them for yourself and give them some upvotes and stuff. There's some amazing looking pieces here, and it serves as a great gallery for inspiration as well. I think I frequently come back to this and just have a look through what we've looked at previously.
I now
Amazingly
desperately
stuff.
find the amazing painting that someone did. The Hellboy.
Let's see, have we got any comments here? No, we don't have any comments in the Hobby Hangout. So yeah, amazing work, guys. As well, if you want to get some Flames of War stock, you can come over to the OnTableTop store, the store.ontabletop.com. We
Right.
have 10% off all Flames of War stock, not to
Very
mention
cool.
20% off on all GW stuff as well. And I think we ship everywhere now. I'm not sure.
UK and EU, isn't it, at the moment? Or?
Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure we ship everywhere. If not everywhere, definitely to the UK and Europe.
Right, so I've just put a link into the chat. I hope it works. It's not a virus.
Oh my goodness! Look at this.
And does it show a really cool Hellboy model, or does it not?
It does, but I need to go full browser for this bad boy.
Yeah.
So this is probably the kind of thing I was looking to do whenever it came out. But this has stepped it up quite a notch since my attempt.
So this is Remy Tremblay, who people will know, hopefully, as a big painter in the industry, and he's painted the models to match the artwork on the tiles, and that is insane. But yeah.
Did he even paint the tile as well?
No, the tiles. Oh, he's painted the tile onto the base.
Yeah,
Or
that's what I meant. Yeah.
that, or it might be cut. I don't know. But either way, Jesus, the model looks amazing.
Yeah.
I
Anyone who
made-
goes.
I made the mistake of showing it to my friend who's been painting his Hellboy thing, and he was like, "Well, why do I bother?"
Yeah, I really that's very admirable. I mean, you can paint your mini any way you want, really, but anyone who goes into that kind of like detail of matching it to the theme rather than doing their own paint style takes a lot of effort and very, very impressive as well. But not to throw shade at anyone else. Everyone else who's been working on the projects as well is fantastic.
Yes.
Anyway, I think that's going to be it for Community Spotlight this week. Thank you very much for joining in this week. I think next week we're going to be looking at all of the spring cleaning projects, so hopefully we'll have a winner announced. If not then, or if not this weekend, or probably next weekend.
We'll plan something at some point to get it done.
We do.
Yeah.
We are aware of it, and
Yes.
we'll be working
It's
on it very soon.
Lots of other things to deal with at the moment, but.
Yeah.
And to Tuffy Ears, who said that you now have to pay $1 million to unlock your PC, it goes to me, not a Russian dude. So if you want to help out and support me, Give me $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much, Ben. Thank you,
worries.
non-existent John, wherever you are. Hi, Lloyd.
He's sitting there
Thanks
going
for-
broom broom with VR tank.
Thanks for joining us this week, Lloyd. He's come in with a pot noodle just to tease me. My goodness. No, go away.
Some.
No, go away. Go away. I don't want your pot noodle.
Nutrition.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye, Ben.
Bye.